Welcome to Athlete in the 519. I'm Greg Schooley, and my guest today is Kevin Hamlin of the Windsor Lancers. Thanks for coming, Kevin.
Pleasure to be here.
Before we get started, we're going to start off with Timmy Campbell. For everything you need in real estate, give Tim Campbell a call, 519-259-9999. Make sure you like this episode, and you're entered to win 2 Spitfire tickets to this Thursday's game, plus the parking pass. And these are to the Crown Royal seats, and you get these passes get you into the Crown Royal room. So make sure you like, and you're entered to win. We'll announce the winner tomorrow. Nonetheless, we have Kevin Hamlin here, coach of the Windsor Lancers men's hockey team. Thanks for coming, Kevin.
Thanks, Greg. Congratulations on the show.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, based on my show is I usually just talk about growing up in the area. So, what part of Windsor did you grow up in?
Well, I grew up on Turner Road. That's where I first grew up, and then at about grade 6 or 7, Mom and Dad moved to the West End, so we grew up close to 80 Knox Arena on Curry, yeah. And then that wasn't West End enough. We had to move to Peter Street after that. So
they had to toughen you up.
Yeah. So that was the deal. So I had the best of a couple worlds. I had a great group of friends, not only from East Windsor but West Windsor as well.
Now, how did you get into sports? What sport did you take on first?
Well, quite frankly, Greg, there wasn't a sport that I didn't like. Anything that where I could compete, I played it. Whether it was tennis, baseball, lacrosse, hockey, I just loved it. I just loved the idea of competing. And my brothers were a little bit older than me, so I had to seek out my own peer group. And so it was always our friends. It didn't matter what it was. We picked up a racket or a ball or whatever, and whatever season it was, we played it.
Oh, that's absolutely, like, even I gotta mention, like, I asked my kid today, I go, hey, he plays lacrosse and hockey. I go, which sport do you like? And he goes, well, when I'm playing hockey, I love hockey. When I'm playing lacrosse, yeah. I love lacrosse. So, I mean, back in the day, though, it was usually baseball and hockey. Those are the 2 main sports.
Well, that's how it started out. And then when we moved to Curry, we moved next door to the Martinello family.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't long after that Terry taught me how to play, and I loved the game and played baseball. I tried to play all 3, and it was just becoming too much. And I loved lacrosse because there were no rainouts in lacrosse. So I moved away from baseball at the junior age. I played Connie Mack baseball for Father Cullen and loved it, but I just loved the idea of being able to hit people. And lacrosse was great, and I always had Terry around to play catch with, Terry, Wayne, and Ron, and they kind of taught me how to play from a very young age, and I grew up loving the game. And
that's is that at the old barn you guys played, or did you play?
Well, we played everywhere in those days. I think the travel lacrosse. I think we played out of Adstall and 80 Knox in those days, and then when we moved up to junior lacrosse in the Warlocks, it was out of the barn.
Oh yeah,
in the middle of summer.
Yeah, it was hot. So you know what? Those Martinello guys, I get a hold of them, get them on this show.
There's nothing that those guys haven't done, and they would be great on this show. I mean, how can you have a show like this without talking or discussing anything about the Martinellos there?
There you go.
They meant a lot to me and to athletics in this area.
Absolutely. So you gravitate to lacrosse and you gravitate to hockey. So baseball kind of goes to the wayside. So now you're good at both, right? So there's a lot of money in hockey. There's not so much in lacrosse. But how do you decide? You say, you know what? Or did it just where you were playing kind of made the decision for you? You get drafted, you move on from there.
Yeah, I think it just happened organically. I mean, my love was hockey. My true passion was hockey. Baseball and lacrosse kind of came and went, and but I just loved hockey. And growing up as a Spitfire fan at the old barn, who wouldn't love hockey? I mean,
yes.
it was a cultural experience every time you went to a game, and it's amazing. We were talking just the other day. I was talking with my brother, and I could probably rattle off 10 of those guys on the junior team back in the day when I was a 12-year-old kid going to the Spitfire games, and it was just a thrill. So for me to grow up in that environment, it was really neat. And then to have the opportunity to go to London and play for the Knights as a 17-year-old was a real special thing for me, because even though we kind of hated the Knights as a fan of Windsor, they're a first-class organization, and we had an opportunity to play with some absolute great players like Billy Carroll and Dino Cicerelli and Dean Hopkins, and just a thrill to play in that old London Garden environment. And then, of course, when we came back and played against the Spitfires, that first year I was a backup.
I'm just saying, this is going to be good.
It was awesome. So that year, I don't know if you're aware, but I played the year that we actually played the Spitfires 27 times, counting exhibition, regular season, and playoff. And it was a thrill. And anybody that went to those games know that you probably had to buy those tickets well in advance, because at about 3 p.m, people would take off work early to go and get their tickets, and it was just a thrill. It was just
they
unbelievable experience. What's that?
Did they boo the heck out of you?
Well, they did when I played, and I didn't. That first year I didn't play too much, but I did play as a Knight coming in and playing for the Spitfires, and rightfully so. Windsor fans love their home team, and they should. And I got my share of boos, that's for sure. Especially the gallery behind the net.
Well, just before we get ahead of ourselves, so growing up, is there any good players you played with while you kind of came out of minor hockey out of Windsor?
Yeah, we're really lucky.
With you also?
Yeah, Terry was. So Ronnie and Wayne were a little older. Terry played with me all the way up, and some guys from my age group that went on and played Division I hockey. Ken Manchurek and Brian Farringer and Bill Stortz went to Harvard, and Kenny and Brian went to Northeastern, and I decided that I wanted to go the OHL route. There was no place I'd rather play, because the Spitfire, that's what I wanted to do, and
that's cool.
And so that's what happened. If you drive hard enough at something that you really want to do, ultimately a door will swing open, and you have a chance to do it. You try and take advantage of it, and that's what I did.
And so you go to London, then you get traded at the Alexanders, Brantford Alexanders, and so how was your stay there?
Incredible, and look. I played on 4 teams in that league in 4 different years, and Greg, I didn't have a negative experience at any place.
So that's Peterborough Petes, then the Spitfires.
Yep. So in Brantford, we had 13 NHLers that played on that one team that we lost to the Spitfires in the Ems Division Final in 7 games, and we're winning. We're winning 3-2 going back to Brantford, a chance to close, and I didn't play very well. And then we came back to Windsor Arena again, sold out environment, and Sean McKenzie was better than me that day, and unfortunately the Spitfires won on that day, and they went on. I think they ended up losing in the OHL final to the Peterborough Petes that year, but it was just a special time to be an OHLer, and to come back and to be involved in Windsor Essex County sport was fun.
Summer's nice. You come home and you just kind of relax, but you get to meet the old chums, and you're still hooked up with a lot of the players. So what I was saying is you played all this, and then so you wanted to go farther, right? And you got a tryout with.
Yeah, so when I got traded back from, I played for the Spitfires my overage year, and Marcel Pronovo, God rest his soul, was a real special man to me. He was the coach in Windsor, and prior to that, I had been to my first NHL camp as a graduate of the Petes, and went to the Pittsburgh Penguin camp, played some exhibition games. They wanted me to play in Muskegon, and I didn't want to. I wanted to, I felt like I was good enough to either earn a contract, or I wanted to go back to junior, like Greg Millen did. he went back to the Sioux and earned a contract to St. Louis. And I thought that if I went back as an OA and had a bang-up year, that could happen. And unfortunately, I suffered my only injury that I ever had playing hockey that year. And Dave Dryden, who was coaching me in Peterborough, was good enough to send me to Windsor, where I met Marcel and the group here that I played with. And after the Windsor year, we had a really good run. We lost to Kitchener. Kitchener went on and won the Memorial Cup that year. And I joined the Toledo Gold Diggers, and they had an unbelievable team, an IHL team. They won a Turner Cup. I was fortunate enough I think I was with them for like 18 games.
Oh, yeah.
Played in the game or two, but that was a really good experience, because that was the first time, Greg, that no matter what sport, it was the first time that I was involved in a championship environment.
Yeah.
And that taught me something. I had a lot of time to watch and watch guys like Dirk Graham and Scott Housen and great pros, how they approached the game and how hard they worked. And with that, I came back. I had to get my amateur status back because I played those games in Toledo.
Yep.
And I had to sit out a year. So Windsor was nice enough to, University of Windsor let me practice with them a little bit. I played a little bit of senior hockey in Chatham. Mike Keenan called me in the summer and recruited me to U of T. And he said the right things, and he hit a note that really, really sticks with me even today. And we had our 25th anniversary last year, and I asked him this question. I said, do you know the question that you asked me when you first called me? He said, and he finished my sentence. He said, yeah, I asked you if you wanted to be a national champion. And that was amazing to me, Greg, because nobody had ever said that to me. Yeah. Nobody ever included me in that conversation.
And they're trusting you. Now they're saying, hey, I trust you.
Yeah, and we did. Our first year, I was fortunate enough to be a part of a great group at U of T, won a national championship, and had 4 great years there, and excellent coaching under Tom Watt and Mike Keenan. And Tom was nice enough to bring me to the Vancouver Canuck main camp for 2 years. And then when I was all done at the University of Toronto, I had some opportunity, and I had to make a decision. Do I want to play in the minors and kind of stick it out, or do I want to go back to school and become an educator? Because that was a real passion of mine too, and I chose the latter, and haven't looked back. It's been a great run.
And obviously you met quite a few contacts. Like, it was kind of like, as you moved up each ladder, there were certain players that you mentioned that were mentors to you in your life.
Buddy, I tell all my guys that today, because vicariously, I see my players come in, and a lot of them have the same story that I had. They've played 2 or 3 different places in the CHL or Tier 2, and they've had a pretty tough go of it. They weren't quite as fortunate as me to kind of enjoy the places where I went. So I tell them, I said, look, like, I know it's kind of a sour pill now, because the perspective of somebody didn't want you, so they kept trading you. But you'll get to a place where you look back and reflect on it, and it's not because somebody didn't want you, it's because somebody wanted you. And that network that you developed in those centers, that'll serve you well for the rest of your life. And I'm telling you, Greg, like, I still talk to people in Brantford. We recruited 3 kids from the Brantford area this year.
Because of friends that associates you had there.
Well, that's part of the conversation, right? And so in Peterborough, we recruited 3 Peterborough Petes this year. London Knights and the Spitfires, of course. So I'm able to draw from those experiences and just tell the guys, because I've lived it. I said, look, you might not get it now, and I don't say that a lot to the kids. You don't get it, but it's hard for them to fully grasp the big picture. But later on in life, when they're done playing, and all of a sudden they're in business, or maybe they're coaching, or maybe they're looking for work, somebody that they played with will have a contact that is important to them, and they'll reach out and they'll make connections, and that's one of the beautiful.
That's an interesting analogy, though. That really is. That's life itself, right?
It's an unintended consequence, right? That we talk to our players about all the time. but it's a positive one. And it's one of the beautiful things about being active in sport, team sport, because I tell my guys, they're in a dressing room with some people that will stand up in their wedding, be their best friends forever, whatever. They're gonna be friends with them for the next 50 years.
Yeah. That's just interesting, man. I really like that. So let's move on and to your coaching career. So Leamington Flyers, you played for them, or you coached them for about 5 years, 6 years. Is that right?
Well,
is this your first bout with coaching?
No. To be honest, Mito Martinello gave me my very first coaching position as a 19-year-old. Something happened with the Warlock coaching staff, and Mito asked me to jump in and fill in for the rest of the year. So that was actually my first coaching stint. And then later on in life, when I was done playing, Motor City Smitty, Brad Smith, we were having an adult beverage, and he said, "Listen, why don't you come and help us? Why don't you?" I think he just wanted a drinking partner, and so I did, not knowing anything. It's amazing how little you know, to be honest. You've been around the game so long, but you don't know technically much. And fortunately, Smitty had guys like Dave Purpage around, and Paul Maurice had been through there, Pete DeBoer, and so it was just I just shut my mouth and watched and tried to learn as much as I possibly could. I was teaching at the time, and I wanted to coach and I wanted to teach. I got laid off as a teacher, and I was working a hockey school in Grand Bend that summer. Still laid off, thinking I might get called back, but not knowing what the plan was. And I was golfing with a local guy, Vern Stenlin, Ted Sater, and Les Binkley, an old goaltender. And Teddy said, "Hammer, what are you doing next year?" And I said, "Nothing.
Right now, nothing.
I'm hoping to be back at the Spitfires, whatever." He said, "Would you consider applying for a coaching job at Cornell?" I said, "Well, it never occurred to me, but yeah, I might look at that." So I kid you not, Greg, 2 days later, I flew to Ithaca, fell in love with the campus, really, really liked Brian McCutcheon, who you might know is not only that he was a Cornellian, he was a graduate from Cornell, coached there for 10 years, but he coached the Buffalo Sabres for years. But Mark Taylor, the other assistant coach, and that, I think, is where I learned as much as I possibly could about the recruiting end of the game, because that's what the assistant coaches do at the D1 level. They learn how to recruit.
How's that? How's all that? How do you get back to Windsor?
Well, at the end of the year, I knew I didn't want to make $10,000 for the rest of my life, right? So I came back. Then the director of education, Jim Molnar, hired me on as a long-term at Cardinal Carter High School in Leamington, and then I never looked back from there. I always looked for. I joined the Spitfires again, and until Smitty got fired, and then Brian Leclerc, an executive of the Bell River Canadians, called me at the end of that year, the second year I was with the Spitfires, and he said, "Would you consider applying for the head coach and GM job of the Bell River Canadians?" And I said, "Sure," because I love to coach. I wanted to coach.
Now, is this your first? Well, no. Is this your first head coaching job?
This is my first head coaching job, and I was with Bell River Canadians for 5 years. I took over for Greg Primack, who had just won the Ontario Championship the year before. So it was tough shoes to fill. And after the first year was a steep learning curve. We had won 4 consecutive championships, 2 consecutive Ontario championships, and then Harold Conrad called, who was the GM of Leamington, and he asked me if I would consider talking to him about moving over to Leamington. So that's what I did, and I was in that league for 4 years and loved the Junior B League. And from there, John Strasser, the former president of the school at St. Clair College, wanted to resurrect the program and asked me if I'd be interested. And I thought, what a great challenge this would be to.
Was that when you guys played over in the States as well?
Yeah, well, we dominated the league for like 3 or 4 years, and we lost our 4th year to Humber in the final, and then teams started to crumble. Like they started to cave in. They lost their sponsorships and money. So the only team that was in the league was St. Clair College. So we were looking for a place to play. So the first year we went through, and all we did was play exhibition games against Division I teams and club teams in the United States. It was an unbelievable experience for the guys. And keep in mind, I had former NHL or OHLers and a lot of top end local players, Junior B players and Tier 2 guys. We had a great team. So then we joined the OHA Senior A loop for a couple of years and played in that. And then they made a change at the University of Windsor. And again, timing was everything. Gord Grace called me and said, look, we're looking for a coach. Dominic Papa suggested that I should talk to you. And would you be interested? I did that. And here I am 13 years later.
13 years from 2008 to right now.
Yeah.
That is incredible. And you're right. I think I had your record here. Sorry, I took it off here. But you're, sorry. No. I think you're 282 games played with 175 wins. That's pretty good.
Yeah, we've had.
That keeps your job.
Yeah, that's job security. You'd think, but we never. Our group is a pretty special group. We never seem to have the bigger names across the country, but we have guys that want to win more than anybody else, and they want to compete and they want to do the right thing both on and off the ice. And it really is a great environment to be a part of.
And that's interesting, though. I was just thinking, like, you get the kids after they've been through the OHL, right? So, they're full of everything and just they're kids, right? So when you get them at the university level, one, they're going to school, so they got to mature a bit. But you have them when they're actually men now and ready to. Like if they're playing, they're playing for real. They just want to win.
Yeah, they're certainly.
But they want an education at the same time.
Yeah, they're they've graduated from junior. So typically, Greg, like your son would go to school as a freshman at 18 years old. My guys come to school as freshmen at 21.
Yeah.
Because they played their OA year, whether it's here playing Junior B or in the OHL or wherever. So that's a little that's interesting to negotiate at times because. They're not freshmen and they're not true freshmen. And so like that 2014 team, when we won the Queen's Cup, we had 12 Junior B players on that team.
Oh, wow.
So it's not just CHL guys. It's about at this level, and we talk about it all the time. My coaching staff and our players, and we have conversations about this all the time. On any given night, it doesn't matter in our league where you played. It doesn't matter. If you're going to outcompete your opponent on any given night, you give yourself a better than average chance to win that game. And that's what we do. I think anybody playing us will tell you that that we never want to get outworked because those are things that we can control. Outworked or outcompeted. And there are some nights where we're not quite as competitive as we'd like to be. Those are nights where we struggle. And that's our job to get our guys ready and to challenge them to compete every single night because they still want to play. Off that COVID team, the last year that we played prior to COVID, Greg, we had 8 guys sign pro deals.
Wow.
So from Belgium to Italy to the East Coast League, I had one, Chase Ruddy just left 2 weeks ago and signed in Fort Wayne. So, guys, they see it as a stepping stone. And that really is part of our mission, right? We want to give our student athletes a place where they can succeed on the ice and off the ice so that in the event they graduate, they can walk into industry in a good job, or they can still continue their pro aspirations.
Yeah.
And if we do that, then I think we've
it says a lot for your program too.
I believe it does.
Okay, let me just talk about you got Coach of the Year in 2008, 2009. Was that a good season?
Well, I mean, look,
and Coach of the Year 2014 and 15. I might as well put
look, at the end of the day, when coaches take too much credit for stuff like that, I'll be honest with you, I think I've had better years personally.
Oh, yeah.
In years where maybe our team has struggled. And too often, it's voted by the rest of the coaches, which is great, and that is that's nice. But the rest of the coaches don't see the day-to-day obstacles that are in your way at times, and I share this with people that are good friends and family who know that there are some years that are more challenging than others because of any kind of dynamic, right? And so too often the years when you have your best records, coaches go on and win Coach of the Year awards. But I think if they were honest, they would tell you that they probably did their best coaching job when you had such a young team and you were more worried about the process than the product, and it was about getting better every single day. And that's where we are right now. With our team, it's about we're focusing on the process and getting better every single day. And I don't know where we're going to end up. I don't know where this team is going to be 3 months from now, but I can tell you it's a pretty special
group.
Hold
that thought. We're just going to talk. I just want to mention Tim Campbell in Century 21. For everything in real estate, call Tim Campbell, 519-259-9999. And don't forget to press like on here or leave a comment and let us know how we're doing. You're going to be entered in to win 2 free Spitfire tickets with the parking pass in the Crown Royal seats. And the tickets get you into the Crown Royal room. So thank you very much for Tim Campbell and Windsor Spitfires for donating that. We'll announce the winner tomorrow night, and hopefully you guys will win. So let's go. We're going to move on, and we're going to talk about this team you got. So you played Laurier on the weekend. How was that?
Well, anybody that knows
with the win,
anyone that knows anything about the OUA, our league, knows that like 3 years ago we have 28 games in a year. We had 17 one-goal games. So if you're coming to a game to watch a game, it's pretty entertaining.
Those are the ones
you're going to see a pretty intense game. Now, couple that with the revised schedule because of COVID. So now we play 20 games. So they've reduced the conferences. Our West Conference, instead of a 10-team conference, now it's a 5-team conference for this year. So we play with the 3 Kitchener-Waterloo teams, Guelph, Laurier, and Waterloo, and Western. So we play each other 5 times. So, it's pretty intense. So right now we've played 4 games, and fortunately we have played all 4 teams in the conference. We've done fairly well. Our record might indicate that, but I can tell you, of the 4 games, 3 of them already have been 1-goal games, and we could just as easily be sitting here at 0-4 as we are 3-1.
So you can't have an off night.
You can't.
It's on.
You can't. It's a great league to be a part of because not only players but coaches have an opportunity to learn and get better every single night.
So how many Windsor guys do you have on your team?
We have 5 Windsor guys on our team, and for whatever reason, the cycle is a little lower. We've had upwards to 10 or 11 guys. And
is it a prerequisite? You got to have some Windsor guys on your team?
No. Look, all things equal, and I think any coach would tell you this. If we have a local who's at par with somebody that from Toronto or wherever, we're going with the local kid. But at the end of the day, we know we have to compete as well. And we have a lot of great talent in this area, a lot of talent this coming year that we know will make us even more competitive.
I noticed on the stats this week, Dougie Matten. So I think you might have played with him when you were younger. And you got his son Connor on your team.
Yeah, So let's back up. So you have to understand, Doug and I have played together since we were 8 years old, right? And when I was in London at the London Night Camp, halfway through the camp, I'd made the team, but I was looking for a billet. And somebody was yelling at me from over the glass during one of our scrimmages, and it just happened to be Chuck Matten, Doug's brother.
Oh, yeah.
So fast forward, I end up billeting with the Mattens in London, and then obviously we were able to stay in touch through the years with that, and then to come back and to coach Doug's kid, what a treat! Cool. Connor is a pretty skilled kid. He's a great guy, and he's an excellent student. He's an engineering student, so not only he's an academic All-Canadian, so not only does he do it on the in the classroom, but on the ice, which I'm sure Doug and his wife are really proud of. So are we.
Absolutely. just before we move on to this weekend's games, is anybody on your team you're just saying, man, this kid can play, and you say he'd probably have a shot, or is there a couple guys saying, yeah, you got a shot if you can get some breaks into the NHL?
Yeah, look, I mean, if you're playing pro hockey when you leave here, you got a shot.
Yeah,
and we only have to look to local kid Matt Martin to prove that. I don't care if kids are playing junior C, junior B. Like if this is something that you really aspire to do, you got a shot, and that's the beautiful thing about our game. So we're really happy. One of my graduates, Ian Parker, was 6'9". He is 6'9". He's playing in Orlando, and he scored his first goal the other day. On a power play goal. He was net front and a big kid, and he's 6'9". Like, not many guys are 6'9" that can go up and down the ice like
without
Ian.
a basketball.
Well, and he's skilled and has good feet. So we are really fortunate that that when guys leave here, they have a chance. Now, what they do after that, some guys take advantage of it and want to go on. Other guys, they realize just how difficult it is. They play a year or half a year and they come back in the industry. But what a great thing, Greg, for a kid to leave and you got a good degree in your back pocket. And, it's a little less risky to go and play pro. Now, if that doesn't work out, I'm going to come back and jump in the industry.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or if you just want to jump in the industry right out of school, then you've played 3, 4, 5 years of great hockey, and you've met a lot of people along the way.
Okay, so this weekend's games, you got Friday at home right here, and then you go away for a road trip up in Waterloo. So how's that game looking?
Waterloo's a great team. They're 1-3. They've lost 3 1-goal games. One of them to us. We went there opening night and beat them 1-0. And, they work hard. They're going to challenge us to play 60 minutes. And, we play Waterloo. We have 5 games left before Christmas. It's unbelievable. Like already we played 20% of our season. I tell some of our guys that are from the Ontario Hockey League and that are coming to us from junior leagues that they play 60, 70, 80 games. Look, you're going to blink and you're going to miss it. So you have to prepare for every single game. We play Waterloo. We have 5 games left between now and Christmas. We play Waterloo 3 times, twice this weekend. So we play at 7:30 at the Capri Pizzeria Center on Friday, and then we travel up the road to Kitchener-Waterloo and play at Waterloo's barn on Saturday. So it's a great weekend for us. It's a big weekend. And it's one that we're working hard to prepare for.
Could have a lot of hate on for them Waterloo games.
Yeah, and them us, and then that's the way it is, right? Yeah. And there's not a lot of fighting in our league
or anywhere. So.
But you have to battle for every inch of ice along the way, and that's why I think people love our game. It's fast, it's competitive, and usually you're walking out of there seeing one heck of a hockey game.
Now, do you get a pretty good crowd in there?
On special nights, like whenever we play Western, just like the Knights and Spitfires, it seems like there's a better rivalry there. But boy, it doesn't matter. Who we play. People are going to see a great game. It's a relatively cheap ticket. And we welcome kids and parents to come out and watch us play. You won't be disappointed.
That's very interesting. Yeah, you want to get the crowd. The crowd gets you guys going anyways. You're playing them 3 times before Christmas. But so you have 5 games before Christmas. So there's a gap in between there. Do you guys practice every day, or is it?
Yeah, we're on the ice every day except Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
And we're usually, Greg, it's a weekend league for us because we are the furthest away. We're the furthest away from all the schools, so they try to schedule our games on Friday and Saturday. Because of COVID this year, and we weren't allowed to have overnight trips for the first semester, we tried to arrange Thursday, Saturday games so that we get a day off. And typically we have every Sunday off. But this is as traditional as a week as we'll find because we practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we play Friday, Saturday, and it's a regroup Sunday and back at it on Monday.
Do the guys even with their school program, or is their school program set all around the ice. So, like, can they miss or they can't miss?
No, I mean, look, you know,
well, you can't.
They're as normal of students as you can find. And I think we want that too, because, you know, there's nobody getting special privileges at our school. And you know, do we make accommodations for some that need it? You know, if there's an exam and we're playing on the road, the school's been great that way. We can either proctor the exam on the road or write the exam some other time. But we want the kids to have a normal education, and look, we have a young man in law school, one is in teachers college, several in business. I mean, these guys are going to go on and you know, they're going to be great members of society, you know, and we're looking forward to that next phase of their lives too.
Oh, that's great. I wish you guys the best. I just want to pop up here, Tim Campbell. Make sure you guys go to Tim for all your real estate needs. 519-259-9999. And make sure you win or comment on this site. And we got some Spitfire tickets for you to the Crown Royal seats and to the Crown Royal room. And don't forget your VIP parking. And we appreciate you coming in today. I really do. You're very interesting. This is the first time I met you. I've heard about you my whole life, but it's actually the first time I met you. The lacrosse thing is awesome. My kid plays lacrosse. I like hearing that. I'm definitely going to ask them Martin Ellis to get in here. One of them, anyways.
Oh, and you know, to have the added experience of playing in, you know, for the Turbos in at Joe Louis Arena for a couple of years was unreal. But you know,
did you play net for lacrosse?
No,
oh, okay.
No. I used to like hitting people, so you know, that gave me that outlet that I was looking for as a goaltender. But listen, before I go, Greg, I just want to congratulate you, you know, on this program, and we always look for opportunities to identify and to highlight, you know, Windsor-Essex area talent in sports. And for people like you, thank you very much.
Hey, thanks, man.
You know,
I
it's
appreciate
this is a good thing, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Well, that's what we're hoping. So next week we have Athlete in the 519. We have Kelly Steele coming on. So make sure you tune in next Monday. This won't be live. This one's, unfortunately, he had practice, so we didn't want to go live. So we're going to just, we pre-taped it. You'll see it later. But honest to God, thank you very much for the kind words. I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, my pleasure, Greg. Good
luck. Right. Good luck the rest of the season. Maybe we'll have you on if you have a really good winning season. We'll have you back.
Well, hopefully I'll be back.
All right.
Go Spits, go Lancers.
All right. Cheers, everybody.